Black Swan class sloop. The Black Swan class and Modified Black Swan class were two classes of sloop of the Royal Navy and Royal Indian Navy. 12 Black Swans were launched between 1939 and 1943, including 4 for the Royal Indian Navy. 25 Modified Black Swans were launched between 1942 and 1945, including 2 for the Royal Indian Navy. History. Like corvettes, sloops of that period were specialized convoy defense vessels. However, while corvettes were based on a mercantile design with triple expansion engines, sloops were conventional naval vessels with turbine engines. Sloops were larger and faster, with a heavy armament of high-angle 4-inch guns, which had superior anti-aircraft fire control via the fuse-keeping clock. They were designed to have a longer range than a destroyer at the expense of a lower top speed, while remaining capable of outrunning surfaced Type Roman 7 and Type Roman 9 U-boats. In World War II, Black Swan-class sloops sank 29 U-boats. The most famous sloop commander was Captain Frederick John Walker. His sloop Starling became one of the most successful submarine hunters, taking part in the sinking of 11 U-boats. After the war, sloops continued in service with the Royal Navy, Egyptian Navy, Indian Navy, Pakistan Navy, and the West German Navy. In April 1949, Amethyst was attacked on the Yangtze River by the Communist People's Liberation Army. Also, several Black Swan sloops fought in the Korean War. Black Swan class, Royal Navy. The first 2 ships were built under the 1937 program, being ordered from Yarrow and Company, Scottstown, on 1 January 1938. The second pair was built under the 1939 program, being ordered from Furnace Shipbuilding Company on 21 June 1939. A further 10 Orange ships were ordered under the 1940 war program on 13 April 1940. However, 6 of these the orders placed with White of Cowes, Thornycroft at Woolston, and Swan Hunter on Tyneside for 2 ships each were subsequently replaced by orders for an equal number of Hunt-class escort destroyers. There were incremental improvements as the building developed, and the Woodcock and Wren, when completed, were practically indistinguishable from the Modified Black Swan class. Royal Indian Navy. 2 ships were ordered under the 1939 program, order being placed with Denny on 8 September 1939. The second pair were ordered under the 1940 program, this order with Thornycroft being placed on 29 August 1940. The first 2 were used as survey ships after the war. The second pair were transferred to the Pakistan Navy in 1948. Modified Black Swan class. Royal Navy. 14 sloops for the RN were in the 1940 Supplementary War Program. The first 2 were ordered from Denny, Dunbarton, on 9 January 1941. 10 more were ordered on 27 March 1941, 2 each from Camel Laird, Scott's, Thornycroft, Yarrow, and John Brown, and a final pair from Fairfield, Govan, on 18 July 1941. The contract with John Brown was transferred to Devonport Dockyard on 3 March 1942, and then to Denny on 8 December 1942. Another 14 ships were authorized in the 1941 program. The last 3 ships, the names Star, Steady, and Trial, had been approved, were not ordered under this program. The first of the 11 actually ordered was contracted with Thornycroft on 3 December 1941, with a further pair from Stevens Linthouse on 18 December. 8 more were ordered in 1942, 2 on 11 February, 2 on 3 March originally from Portsmouth Dockyard, 2 on 12 August, and 2 on 5 October. However, the order for 2 sloops were ordered at Portsmouth was moved to Chatham Dockyard on 21 June 1943, and they were laid down there, but were cancelled on 15 October 1945. Two more sloops were authorized in the 1942 program. The names would have been Waterhen and Rheineck, but they were never ordered in that year's program. The 1944 program reinstated these two vessels, as well as the 12th sloop authorized under the 1941 program and now named as Partridge. These three ships were ordered on 9 October 1944, but they were all cancelled on 15 October 1945. These had been intended to be further modified and enlarged, with a beam of 38 feet 6 inches 11.73 m. Two further ships planned under the 1944 program would have been named Woodpecker Roman II and Wild Swan, but these were never ordered and the intention to build was dropped when the 1945 program was compiled. Partridge ordered from Thornycroft. Waterhen ordered from Denny. Rheineck ordered from Denny. Royal Indian Navy. Two ships for the Indian Navy were included in the 1941 program, the order being placed with Yarrow on 10 September 1941. Losses. In World War II, Ibis was sunk by Italian torpedo bombers off Algiers on 10 November 1942. Woodpecker was seriously damaged by an acoustic homing torpedo fired by U-256 on 20 February 1944 whilst escorting convoy on 224. The ship sank a week later on 27 February whilst under tow during an Atlantic storm. Kite was sunk by U-344 on 21 August 1944 whilst the ship was escorting aircraft carriers covering the Arctic convoy JW-59. Lark was damaged beyond repair by U-968 on 17 February 1945. Lapwing was sunk by U-968 on 20 March 1945 just outside Murmansk, USSR. U-boat kills. U-213 was sunk east of the Azores by Erne, Rochester, and Sandwich on 31 July 1942. U-124 was sunk west of Oporto by the corvette Stonecrop and Black Swan on 2 April 1943. U-202 was sunk at 0:30 HRS on 2 June 1943 southeast of Cape Farewell, Greenland in position 56. 12 Ideg and 39. 52 Dig W/56. 1239. 52 by depth charges and gunfire from Starling on 2 June 1943. U-449 was sunk northwest of Cape Ortegal by Wren, Woodpecker, Kite, and Wild Goose on 24 June 1943. U-462 was sunk in the Bay of Biscay by a Handley Page, Halifax, and Wren, Kite, Woodpecker, Wild Goose, and Woodcock on 30 July 1943. U-504 was sunk northwest of Cape Ortegal by Kite, Woodpecker, Wren, and Wild Goose on 30 July 1943. U-226 was sunk east of Newfoundland by Starling, Woodcock, and Kite on 6 November 1943. U-538 was sunk southwest of Ireland by the frigate Foley and Crane on 21 November 1943. U-119 was sunk in the Bay of Biscay by Starling on 24 June 1943. U-842 was sunk by Starling and Wild Goose on 6 November 1943. U-592 was sunk southwest of Ireland by Starling, Wild Goose, and Magpie on 31 January 1944. U-762 was sunk by Woodpecker and Wild Goose on 8 February 1944. U-734 was sunk southwest of Ireland by Wild Goose and Starling on 9 February 1944. U-238 was sunk southwest of Ireland by Kite, Magpie, and Starling on 9 February 1944. U-424 was sunk southwest of Ireland by Wild Goose and Woodpecker on 11 February 1944. U-264 was sunk by Woodpecker and Starling on 19 February 1944. U-653 was sunk by a ferry Swordfish from the escort carrier Vindex, Starling, and Wild Goose on 15 March 1944. U-961 was sunk east of Iceland by Starling on 29 March 1944. U-962 was sunk northwest of Cape Finisterre by Crane and Signet on 8 April 1944. U-473 was sunk southwest of Ireland by Starling, Wren and Wild Goose on 6 May 1944. U-333 was sunk west of the Scilly Isles by Starling and the frigate Loch Killen on 31 July 1944. U-608 was sunk in the Bay of Biscay by Wren and a B-24 Liberator on 10 August 1944. U-385 was sunk in the Bay of Biscay by Starling and a short Sunderland on 11 August 1944. U-198 was sunk near the Seychelles by the frigate Findhorn and HMS Godavari on 12 August 1944. U-354 was sunk in the Barents Sea by Mermaid and Peacock, the frigate Loch Dunvegan and the destroyer Keppel on 24 August 1944. U-394 was sunk in the Norwegian Sea by a ferry Swordfish from the escort carrier Vindex, the destroyers Keppel and Whitehall and the sloops Mermaid and Peacock on 2 September 1944. U-425 was sunk in the Barents Sea by Lark and the corvette Alnwick Castle on 17 February 1945. U-1276 was sunk south of Waterford by Amethyst on 20 February 1945. U-1208 was sunk by Amethyst and others on 20 February 1945. U-327 was sunk in the English Channel by the frigates Labuan and Loch Fauna and Wild Goose on 27 February 1945. U-683 was sunk by Wild Goose and others on 12 March 1945. Reassessment. U-482 was credited during the war to the Starling, along with the sloops Amethyst, Peacock, Heart, and frigate Loch Craggy, as having been sunk in the North Channel on 16 January 1945. The British Admiralty withdrew this credit in a post-war reassessment in the 1990s.